We've been contacted by a number of people who say they still can't access some services in the capital. I'm about to meet two people who say they've really had enough. Christiana is a journalist who's been disabled since she was a baby, so has always used a wheelchair.
How are you, Jenny? Good, how are you? I hate it if I'm in front of a restaurant and I just can't get in. Even so, there are only 1 or 2 steps, but that is enough.
Well, this is a village almost completely underwater. In fact, the only way to get around is by really high waders or by boat, as you can see. That's right, people have only actually just got out of the pool, but there were big crowds here today, kids coming straight from school, queues outside, people splashing around to cool down because they've been taking advantage of the hot temperatures. I'm broadcasting to you live from the Bakerloo Line platform at Oxford Circus Station. Now, as you can see, it looks very quiet here, doesn't it? Well, that's because they're exercising some crowd control upstairs. They're closing the gates every 5 to 10 minutes, holding the crowds back so they can't get down. Hibbo's girls will have a very different upbringing to their mother, because at just 6 years old, something happened that would change her forever.
It was the most horrendous, unbelievable, undescribable pain of any human can go through. I prayed to die that day. I prayed to die because I didn't want to go on feeling that pain.
FGM has been illegal in the UK for 30 years, yet there have still been no successful prosecutions. In France, there have been more than 100. I'm going to find out what they've done differently and if we can learn anything from them. Well, that's been a problem for many years and a real problem for the police and the authorities. So what the government are saying they're going to do now, they're putting legislation through at the moment, is to ensure that social workers, teachers, nurses are even aware of FGM, so they know what it is. Well, Sharika Marsh was described as good-humoured, hard-working and in line to get good GCSE results, but on the 22nd of March she died. Now, the prosecution said that on that Saturday afternoon she'd arranged to meet the defendant at his mother's house, but just 7 minutes after she arrived, he called 999. Well, now at this stage, all we know is that 20 envelopes stuffed with cash will be left in a central London park somewhere this Saturday. The question is, how far and wide would you search for £100? This is how they hunt for cash in the States, in trees, under bushes, everywhere. Hidden Cash announced to its 600,000 Twitter followers that it's coming to London. But will there be a stampede, or will we be much more British and reserved about it all?
London's Air Ambulance isn't to ferry patients to hospital. That happens occasionally, but the point of the ambulance is to get medical staff to the scene quickly. In fact, from central London, the helicopter can get anywhere within the M25 in less than 15 minutes.
Some of the women were forced to have sex with up to 20 men a day. Clients paid between £30 and £100, but most of that money went to the gang and to fund Chowdhury's lifestyle. He drove a convertible Mercedes and lived in a luxury flat here near Canary Wharf.
Sometimes I would try and talk to the client and plead with them, but they would report it to the lady and she would beat me up.
Lots of businesses are already accepting smartphone payments, but what's being trialled here is different because it's about a picture being linked to your online bank account. And when you go to pay for something in a shop, your picture pops up on the screen. The shopkeeper can verify that it's you. Now, the company behind this, PayPal, says it expects us to all be leaving our wallets at home in the future. So I've been here to Richmond all day finding out how it all works. There are plenty of ways to pay for goods in shops now. Credit or debit cards, cash, contactless payments, and even your smartphone. And now there's a new way of doing this. And all you need is an app linked to your online bank account and a picture of yourself.
I was 11 and I got gang raped by boys in my area, like the borough.
Barely out of primary school, she was targeted, forced to have sex with an older boy and his friends.
A group of boys was in his bedroom and they started touching me and stuff. I told them to stop and then it happened one by one.
The next time they saw her, they raped her again.
They told me they'd stab me, like they would beat me up. I was scared, but it didn't really bother me because I was at that point in my life where I didn't care anymore.
She didn't tell anyone, nor do many girls exploited by gangs.
We are talking about rape. In some communities, in some parts of London, for example, we are hearing about children who are being victims of rape and just assume that that's what happens. It's part of growing up.
A 2-year inquiry has looked at the scale of sexual exploitation in gangs across England. It's heard from the police, from councils and from victims. You may not find it as glamorous as the first ever TV broadcast, but next month in this building, the election count will be taking place and it's being tipped as the one to watch. Tarah Welsh, BBC London News in Alexandra Palace.